Every premium automaker has its own vision of luxury. For some, it's silence. For others, it's speed. But when depreciation irons out all the prices, we can see which vision of luxury truly lasts. Today, we have 4 electric sports sedans, all priced around $50,000 used. So let's see what we're working with. Our first contender is the 2022 Tesla Model S, the original premium electric sedan. It's been perfecting its software since 2012, but not really the side profile because that looks pretty much the same. Next up is the BMW i5, the fully electric version of the 5 Series everyone knows and loves. It's refined and it's driven exclusively by executives or just parents who have a kid that goes to a Montessori school. Up next is the Lucid Air Touring. It's the avant-garde EV newcomer that puts efficiency, performance, and packaging above all else. And above all else includes a key fob with a range of more than 10 feet. And finally, we have the Porsche Taycan, the enthusiast's EV. It has a badge so prestigious, you'll forget that this is the same company that charges you $3,000 for adaptive cruise control. I'm also currently sitting on that badge. And now we've met all our cars. We have the pioneer, the professional, the visionary, and the purist. In today's video, I will take you on a tour of all of these electric sports sedans and take them out for a drive. And together, we can determine which is the ultimate electric performance sedan for $50,000. Before we start today's video, my name is Andrew Lambrecht. I'm a project engineer here at Ever, and I'm also a contributor at Inside EVs and Business Insider. Today we are going to be comparing and contrasting all 4 of these electric sedans. We will discuss everything from charging, interior space, and we will finally drive all these cars and see which one performs the best. Let's dive in. To start off our comparison, we are going to talk about pricing and on-paper specs. This particular 2022 Model S is priced at around $43,000 with around 40,000 miles on the odometer. These refreshed Model S's tend to be the cheapest option on this whole comparison, and you can find a lot of them in the low $40,000 range. As for the car, you get a 95 kilowatt hour usable battery pack and dual motors producing 670 horsepower. This car weighs in at 4,561 pounds, so this is the lightest and the most powerful car in this comparison. The Model S has an EPA range of 405 miles, and it can accelerate from 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds. Up next is the BMW i5 eDrive 40. This particular one is a 2024 model year and has 16,000 miles on the odometer. It's also priced at about $50,000 even. This car weighs in at 4,916 pounds and uses an 81.2 kilowatt hour battery pack mated to a single rear motor producing 335 horsepower. The eDrive 40 offers an EPA range of 295 miles and it can accelerate from 0 to 60 in around 5.7 seconds. Up next is a Zenith Red Lucid Air Touring that's also priced at about $50,000. This particular one has 19,000 miles on the odometer. This car comes as standard with a dual motor setup producing 620 horsepower. It weighs in at 5,016 pounds and carries a 92 kilowatt hour battery pack. With the 19-inch wheels, this car can go 425 miles on a single charge. With these 20-inch wheels, that range gets cut down to 384. Regardless, all Lucid Air Tourings can sprint from 0 to 60 in just 3.4 seconds. Finally, we have the 2022 Porsche Taycan rear-wheel drive. This particular one has 9,000 miles on the odometer, so it's priced a little higher. This one is in the low $60,000 range. Though, if you are looking for higher mileage Taycans, mainly in the $30,000 to $40,000 range, you can easily find them in the mid $50,000 ballpark. Still, this is the most expensive car in our comparison, but also the lowest mileage. This particular Taycan has the base battery pack, which is good for 71 kilowatt hours of usable energy. We also get a single rear motor that's capable of producing up to 402 horsepower. The total package weighs in at 4,568 pounds, making it just a shade heavier than the Tesla Model S. The electric Porsche has a range of 200 miles, and it can accelerate from 0 to 60 in 5.1 seconds. As for the on-paper portion of this comparison, the Tesla Model S is the clear winner. It has the best price, the lowest weight, yet the most amount of horsepower. Now let's discuss each of these cars' designs. As for the Model S design, we get a clean front fascia and a nice side profile, though this is beginning to show its age. That said, it's still very aerodynamic with a drag coefficient of 0.208, and this car also has air suspension as standard. In the lowest, most efficient setting, we get 4.6 inches of ground clearance, and on the highest setting, we get 6.2. By contrast, the electric BMW 5 Series features sharper angles and more muscular proportions. The result is a slightly higher drag coefficient of 0.23, which is still very aerodynamic, by the way, and we get a ground clearance of 5.7 inches. Up next is the Lucid Air. This car has a very sleek design, resulting in a drag coefficient of just 0.197. It's the most aerodynamic car out of our comparison and the most aerodynamic production vehicle for sale in the United States. Like the BMW i5, we get steel spring suspension, and this one has a ground clearance of 4.9 inches. Finally, we have the Porsche Taycan, which is hands down the most exotic looking car here. Despite this really great design, we still get a drag coefficient of just 0.22. This particular Taycan does not have the air suspension upgrade, so we're sitting on steel springs with a ground clearance of 5.5 inches. As for our segment winners, and that's winners plural, we're giving it to the Lucid Air and the Porsche Taycan. The Lucid Air is deserving of being a winner because it is the most aerodynamic production car for sale in the United States, and it's not ugly. This is a gorgeous car and incredibly aerodynamic. The Porsche Taycan is also very aerodynamic at 0.22, and it's still a very beautiful car to look at. The Porsche Taycan is also deserving of being a winner because it has a beautiful flowing design, a retractable rear spoiler, and a commanding road presence. For that, the crown is split between the Lucid Air and the Porsche Taycan. As for storage, the Model S has a power opening tailgate, revealing 25 cubic feet of cargo volume. This is higher than a lot of crossovers on the market. We also get this rear parcel shelf and a lower load floor area, revealing even more cargo space. It's very spacious back here, and the tailgate really helps with the practicality. Up front, the Model S has a front trunk delivering 3.1 cubic feet of additional cargo volume. Between both cargo areas, the Model S has 28.1 cubic feet of cargo volume. Not bad at all for a sedan. The BMW i5 offers a power-operated trunk, delivering 17.3 cubic feet of cargo volume. Like the Tesla, we get a lower load floor area, and 17.3 cubic feet is pretty respectable. It's higher than the Mercedes S-Class and the Mercedes E-Class. Beneath this massive hood, we should expect a large front trunk, except there is none. So 17.3 cubic feet is all the cargo volume in the i5. Behind the Lucid Air's power trunk, we get 22.1 cubic feet of cargo volume, which is a lot. We also have two massive pockets on each side of the car and a lower load floor area, revealing even more space. The Lucid Air offers 4.8 more cubic feet of cargo volume in the trunk than that of the BMW i5. Up front, the Lucid Air has a power-operated frunk, delivering 10 additional cubic feet of cargo volume. That is a truly stupendous amount of space Lucid managed to fit up front. And better yet, when combined with the rear trunk, we get 32.1 cubic feet of total cargo volume in the Lucid Air. Simply put, the Lucid Air takes packaging efficiency to a whole new level. Crazy. To access the trunk in the Taycan, you press this discrete button on the rear bumper, and the trunk opens up automatically. We get 14.3 cubic feet of cargo volume back here and a really small lower load floor area. It's the smallest trunk space out of all four of these cars, but still ample for throwing in a couple suitcases. Up front, the Taycan's frunk can be opened from the key, from the interior, or the secret way, which is sliding your hand across the front bumper. It didn't work. Now it works, and when you open this up, it reveals 2.9 cubic feet of additional cargo volume. This totals for 17.2 cubic feet of cargo space between the frunk and trunk. It's also 0.1 cubic feet less than the trunk alone in the BMW i5. As for our cargo space winner, it is none other than the Lucid Air. This thing offers 32.1 cubic feet of cargo volume, which is higher than a Subaru Forester in a sedan footprint. This is a truly impressive amount of cargo volume. As high-pitched Joe Rogan would say, crazy man. As for the interior in the Model S, it's pretty spacious back here. The battery pack does sit up a little bit higher in this car, so your seating angle might be a little wonky. The nice thing though is the floor is totally flat. Back here, all seats are heated as standard, and the outboard seats actually have a nice amount of bolstering to them. Back here, we get a nicely sized center armrest with 2 cup holders, 2 wireless phone chargers, and a small storage area. With this down, it's pretty cozy back here. Pair this with a center display featuring climate controls, audio controls, and even Tesla's Arcade, plus 2 USB-C ports. The Model S's back seats are pretty well equipped. The materials are really good on this door panel. We get lots of leatherette, soft touch materials, wood, aluminum, fabric, and it feels quite nice. While the back seats in the Model S aren't super spacious, it's a nice place to be. As for the front seats in the Model S, it's quite nice. We get power-operated driver and passenger seats, both of which are heated and ventilated as standard. And I gotta say, this white seating material has a really nice contrast with the black headliner. It looks very premium. We also get an open pore wood center console with 2 cup holders, some storage area, and 2 USB-C ports. We get 2 wireless phone chargers, and as standard for this 2022 model year, we get a yoke. So some Model S's have a steering wheel, but a lot of the older 2021 and 2022s come as standard with a yoke. Some people don't like them, some people love them, but we'll get to that in the driving portion. The Model S also comes with a 22 speaker sound system, which is really good. Tesla does all their audio in-house, and the result is a really good sound system. I would say this sound system is on level with lots of the name brands you see in luxury cars. Other than that, the glass roof comes as standard, and the materials are quite nice. Is the build quality jaw-dropping? Yeah, not really, but everything feels really nice. Even around this whole center console, this is all soft touch materials. The interior of the Model S has very little hard touch plastics. Everything is very soft and feels pretty premium. The back seats in the BMW i5 are pretty nice. Now there is one caveat. Since the BMW i5 is built on the same platform as the internal combustion engine BMW 5 Series, we get a transmission tunnel. So this is located right here and really kind of eats into the legroom of the person sitting in the middle seat. The nice thing is the floor is a little bit lower than the Tesla Model S, so the seating position is a lot more natural. While comfortable, these back seats are not heated because that option wasn't paid for. What does come in standard though is this center armrest with 2 cup holders and 4 USB-C ports. You get 1 on each seat back and 2 in the center. We also get climate control vents and a small storage cubby. Overall, the back seats in here are pretty nice and the materials are pretty solid. This whole door panel is made of really nice materials. There is some rubberized plastic on the lower portion of the door panel, but overall the materials feel really good. In the i5, the back seats feel very premium, as you would expect from a BMW 5 Series. Up front, we get a lot of nice amenities like this crystal control knob for the iDrive system, this very nice feeling volume scroll wheel, 2 wireless phone chargers, 2 cup holders, and the drive selector feels really good in the hand. To top things off, we get this awesome ambient lighting spread all throughout the front of the vehicle, into the doors, and even into the back doors. It also goes around the wireless charging tray and the cup holders. At night, this thing looks awesome. And when I'm driving this, I feel like Bruce Wayne in Gotham City. And I'm not saying that because San Francisco is at times like Gotham City. I'm saying that because this thing is so cool to drive. It has a really different presence to it when you're driving, unlike pretty much any other EV I've driven recently. We also get a nicely molded steering wheel and a Harman Kardon sound system as standard. What isn't really cool though is that these seats are only heated as standard. We don't get ventilated seats, which is kind of unfortunate because I would like ventilated seats, but unfortunately you gotta pay extra for that in the BMW. Still, the BMW i5's interior is a very, very pleasant and luxurious place to be. When you get into the back seats of the Lucid Air, you will first realize that there is so much space back here. We have 3 incredibly spacious seats, and even the middle seat has plenty of room. This middle seat is better than some outboard seats in a lot of sedans. What's even crazier is that Lucid was able to manufacture this battery pack such that some battery modules sit underneath the second row of seats, and they were able to remove some batteries from this area, which is good because now our floor is very, very low and our seating position is very natural for an EV. The materials are quite nice back here. Lots of soft touch materials, and these seat backs have some nice fabric and more soft touch materials surrounding them. We also get a center armrest with 2 cup holders and some storage area, and there's even a pass-through to the rear cargo area. What's also cool is we get a little screen where we can control the sunshades. There's back sunshades and side sunshades as well, and the heated seats. There's also 2 USB-C ports and a center console storage area back here. Overall, Lucid Air interior, very, very premium and very spacious. The Lucid Air has a lot of amenities and a lot of space. 2 great things to look for if you ask me. Up front, the Lucid Air Touring comes with heated and ventilated seats as standard. They're also 14-way power adjustable. Later model year Lucid Airs after 2023 started charging for the ventilated seats and such, but if you get a 2023 Touring, you're guaranteed to have the ventilated seats, and they feel very nice. As for amenities, we get this really cool disappearing center screen and this really large center console with 2 cup holders, 2 wireless phone chargers, a USB-A port, and a USB-C port. The steering wheel feels really nice, but some of these buttons on the steering wheel do feel a little on the cheaper side. We do have physical climate control, so you do not always need to access the center screen to change the climate control settings. You can just use these buttons, and a volume scroll wheel in the center. As for standard features, we do not get the glass canopy as standard. That's a $4,500 option, though it is covered in Alcantara. The standard roof does feel really nice. The Lucid Air features Surreal Sound as standard, and you can pay $4,000 to upgrade to Surreal Sound Pro. This particular one comes with Surreal Sound Pro, and I gotta say, it's really not that great of a sound system. Really not as good as Harman Kardon in the BMW, Tesla's in-house audio system, or Bose as we'll see in the Porsche Taycan. It's a fine audio system, but really not that great. Overall, the Lucid Air offers a really nice mixture of materials, lots of soft touch, very nice things to touch overall on this interior, open grain wood, etc. Very spacious, very premium. I can really see myself putting lots of miles on in this car because the cabin is so nice. By contrast with all the other cars we sat in, the Porsche Taycan is, well, shall we say, not overflowing with space. It's actually a little cramped back here. And this car comes as standard with 4 seats. It does not have 5 seats. You can get 5 seats as an option, though we have a pretty large transmission tunnel located right here, and safe to say the person sitting in the middle seat will not have much space at all. That said, the footwells are relatively low, so it's relatively comfortable back here. And we do have a center armrest with 2 cup holders. We do get 2 AC vents, a small storage area, 2 USB-C ports. There aren't any seat back pockets, but the seats feel pretty nice. And the door panel has really nice materials on it. Lots of soft touch and leather materials all throughout. And the insides of these door pockets are felt lined, so if stuff is in there, it won't be making much noise when you're driving. Since this Taycan has the premium package, we have this massive glass roof. The ambience in here is pretty cool. 2 negatives on this interior is you do not get heated seats as standard, and there's lots of plastic. So this B-pillar is actually pretty plasticky, and this whole lower door sill is. That's a big contrast to the Lucid and the Tesla, which have a lot more carpeting on the inside than the Porsche. But let's hop up front. Up front, we get more delights from the premium package, such as ventilated seats. Both the driver and passenger seats are heated and ventilated and power adjustable up to 14 ways. We also get a Bose audio system, which packs a pretty good punch. And this particular Taycan has the Sport Chrono package. So we get the stopwatch in the center of the dashboard, and we get an upgraded steering wheel, which has a really nice feel to it. This is honestly the best feeling steering wheel I've felt in a long time, and I don't really know what that's saying. We also get a wireless phone charger hidden underneath the center armrest, 2 USB-C ports, 2 cup holders, and unlike some of the other cars we've seen, particularly the BMW and the Lucid Air, there's really not many physical control buttons, so mostly everything's done through these screens. We will talk more about this in the software portion, but overall, this interior is really nice. It feels very driver focused. We have this center display that kind of wraps around and points to us, and the materials are pretty good. This whole dashboard is all soft touch materials. Overall, this interior is pretty cool, and it definitely leans more on the performance and sporty side of things. We have 2 segment winners for the interior, and that is the Lucid Air and the BMW i5. The Lucid Air takes the cake because there is so much space in those back seats. It's a very, very comfortable place to be, and even rivals some SUVs in terms of space. The BMW i5 is also the winner because it feels like a true luxury car. Every button you press, every knob you turn just has a really nice weight to it. The BMW i5 feels like a true luxury car. Now let's get to software. As for software in the Model S, it is really good, just as good as any other Tesla. We have a smooth and snappy responsive display. We also have access to Steam video games because this uses an AMD Ryzen chip in it, which is what some gaming PCs use. The Model S literally feels like a smartphone, and tasks like route planning are really quick because of all this computational power. So here we type in San Diego, and we quickly get our route built into San Diego, showing us all our charging stops and how much time we need to spend going there. It's very seamless, and Tesla's software is just quite good. We have a built-in dash cam and Sentry mode, so when your car is parked, all the 8 cameras on the outside of the car will monitor your vehicle, so if anyone breaks in or something like that, then you got them on footage. We also have Grok built in, so you will have an AI voice assistant who can help you out, planning routes, etc., built into the car. You do need premium connectivity to use that, though premium connectivity is around $10 a month, so it's not too bad. And even on this older Model S running on hardware 3, we have a nice crisp backup camera. While the Tesla Model S's sheet metal may be aging, its software really isn't. It gets software updates constantly, and the functionality continuously improves with time. We also have a driver display cluster right here where we can see our speed, battery percentage, and maps, lots of other stuff. It's nice to have this display, unlike the Model 3 and Y, which just use one central display. One trade-off with the Model S is a lot of these buttons are on the steering wheel. So if we want to put on our blinker, we have to press there. High beams, I kind of got used to this, but I know some people would prefer to have these stocks. The other thing is the drive selector, which is on the left side of the display cluster. So once again, there's not a physical knob we have to put the car into drive or reverse, we have to press on the screen. So pretty much everything on the Model S is done through the center display, and some people may like it, some people may not. It's a matter of preference. I tend to like it because this infotainment display just works so well. Unlike the Tesla Model S, there's a lot more to feel and touch in the BMW i4. Specifically, we have all these nice buttons down here. If we want to shift into drive, we pull back, reverse is up there, and we also have a nice volume knob scroll wheel located there. The iDrive menu scroll wheel / mouse thing is also really nice. So if we want to adjust, say, our climate control settings, we can use this knob to go between the menus, if I want to go back, or select different icons. It works quite well and feels really nice. Plus, it looks pretty cool because it's glass. Some of these buttons down here are haptic, so if you rest your finger on them, nothing happens. But then if you press, then that will, for instance, bring us to our navigation screen. The route planner built in works pretty well. It's pretty responsive too, especially coming from a legacy automaker vehicle. Overall, BMW's iDrive 8 is a very refined infotainment system. It's probably the best from any mainstream legacy automaker out there. It's very responsive. We do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and both of which are also wireless, so that is a nice amenity to have. A couple cool things in the BMW i5 are, first, the camera. So when we turn on this parking camera, and what's really cool is we have a 3D view, and if we press on that, we can see around the car in 3D. And this is really great for parking, makes that a lot easier. We also have gesture control, so if I want to move the camera view, you should be able to pinch. I don't know why this isn't working. We can also use these gestures to increase or decrease the volume. So if I want to increase to the right and then to the left. This is pretty cool. I'm not sure how functional this is because we can also just use the volume knob right there. But if you want to be cool, you can do this. It's honestly a nice feature. The one really nice thing is this robust charging menu, which is probably the best from any legacy automaker. Here, we can easily set our charging target, like what the maximum percentage we want our vehicle to charge up to. We can press this to precondition the battery, and we can set an AC limit. Say you're at an older house and you don't really trust the breaker, so you can set a current limit, therefore you won't overpower it. Overall, this is really good. On the Tesla, we have a similar charging menu where you can adjust all these amenities. My favorite thing about the BMW i5 is the really nice gauge cluster for the driver. There's lots of customizability here, and we can even see a front camera feed of the cars ahead of us. And better yet, if we change it into a different mode, say expressive, we get really nice graphics. This looks sweet. Is it functional? Not really, but it looks pretty cool. And finally, since we are in expressive mode, we can actually rev it. So if I press on the accelerator pedal down there, we hear that interesting noise. We will discuss this noise more in depth in a little bit. Overall, the BMW system works very well. It's intuitive, responsive, and it checks pretty much most of the boxes for me. The Lucid Air, despite coming from a techie automaker in California, is, well, fine. We do have wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, which will pop up here, which is pretty nice, but there's not a ton of customizability here. We do have our climate control menu, which is on this lower screen, which can be swiped up like we showed earlier. And then we can change our drive modes here, adjust the seats. We also have side controls too. And we have some themes for our ambient lighting, though the ambient lighting really isn't that intense. It's mainly just kind of in the door panel area over there. The charging menu is nice. We can adjust our current just like in the BMW i5 and Tesla Model S. We do have a 360 view just like the BMW. I honestly think the BMW's cameras are higher quality than the Lucid's because this is a little grainy in areas. Still, it is nice to have the 360 view because like in the Tesla, we do not have that. We just have these side scuttle camera views. But overall, fine infotainment. Doesn't really do anything else that exciting. The built-in map menu just looks kind of dated, as we can see here. And it's definitely significantly more laggy than the BMW and Tesla. The route planning is still fine, though it definitely leaves more to be desired. This display up here is also okay. It's very minimalist, not much going on. if you don't like a lot going on, you'll probably like it, I guess. But overall, the Lucid Air is fine. I think most people will be okay with it. And then the other side effect is it's kind of glitchy in some areas. I think the biggest thing is the key fob that just works occasionally. I've driven a lot of Lucid Airs before, and the range of this key fob is probably like 10 feet. It's really disappointing. The app is okay. It still takes a while for the car to unlock when you press the unlock button on the app. Yeah, I think the Lucid Air definitely could use improved software, and the 2025, to give Lucid credit, is definitely a big improvement. Though on these older Lucid Airs, they're just not quite as techy as you would expect them to be. Now we have the Porsche Taycan, and if I can explain this infotainment in one word or noise, I would say it is fine. You have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is nice. Now come the negatives. For instance, the charging menu. Just not a lot going on here. It's not even easily apparent to set charging limits in this vehicle. There is this, the minimum charge, setting of the charging target that the vehicle should reach as quickly as possible when charging. Don't really know what that means. There is optimized charging, etc., but there is no way to just easily set a charging limit on the Porsche Taycan. Neither is there a way to set the current limit when you're charging on level 2 or level 1. This is kind of disappointing coming from a car with the best charging speeds out of all these vehicles. We do have some customizability of the vehicle. This particular one doesn't have the Porsche electric sound or the air suspension, so all we can change is the chassis, drive mode, and recuperation. Recuperation really doesn't do that much. We'll talk about it in the driving portion, but basically it just adds a little bit of regen when you let off the accelerator. It's okay. We do have our climate control menu located down here. These touchscreen controls work fine, and they are haptic operated, by the way. So if you just rest your finger, nothing really happens. And then if you actually apply pressure, then the temperature will increase or decrease. We do get ventilated seats, as mentioned, because this has the premium package, so we get the controls right there. We do have a camera menu, which we can pop up. This particular one has the 360 view and probably one of the worst backup cameras in the industry. Porsche really is not good at backup cameras. The views get really distorted when you're in parking lots close to other vehicles. Not a great backup camera, but the 360 view is actually quite good. It's a nice camera. Coming over here, we have our center driver's display, which is pretty nice. We have a lot of information here. We can see our G's, and we can customize this too. So say I go here and then go on the scroll wheel, we can see our map. We can also see an extended map, which is really cool. So our whole display will turn into a map. And then we can also go into reduced mode if you're feeling very zen and want to travel to Thailand to become a monk, just like my teacher in high school. Overall, this gauge cluster is pretty cool. Some of these controls are off to the side on these touchscreen buttons. So if I want to turn traction control, say, completely off, you press and hold. You can turn on sport chassis by pressing that button. And we have our headlight controls over here. Overall, the Porsche Taycan is not really a software champ, but you do have Apple CarPlay, so that is nice. Our software winners are the Tesla Model S and BMW i5. The Tesla Model S wins because the infotainment just works so well. The graphics are crisp, the built-in route planner is awesome, and it's great to have lots of features like Sentry Mode and the built-in dash cam. This doesn't even mention the app, which works very well. It's super responsive, and from the app, you can even see your live Sentry Mode feed from your phone anywhere in the world. That's really cool. The BMW i5 wins because its built-in iDrive infotainment just works so well. If you want to have CarPlay, you can do that. But iDrive 8 is a really good system, and you can use it through that little center iDrive shifter circular thing in the center console, which works really well. That's great for when you're driving because you don't need to take your eyes off the road. But if you're someone who gets a little overwhelmed with technology, you would really appreciate the BMW i5 because it has a nice blend of traditionality and tech. As for charging and range on the Tesla Model S, This car offers a 95 kilowatt hour battery pack with an EPA range of 405 miles. Based on some data I've collected from out of specs range tests, we can estimate that the Model S with the 19-inch wheels should get around 370 miles on a single charge. As for charging, this car has a peak charge rate of 250 kilowatts, but the charging curve is a little steep, so it will taper off a little bit quicker than some other EVs out there. This car will still charge from 10 to 80% in around 30 minutes, which is pretty quick. Charging in the Model S isn't class leading, but it's still pretty good. But the real benefit is the supercharging network and the integrated infotainment system. So simply type in where you need to go, the Tesla will route you to all the superchargers, and the best thing is, if a certain charger is really busy, then it will route you to less busy chargers. The Tesla charging ecosystem is truly top-notch. Like the Tesla Model S, the BMW i5 still uses a 400-volt platform. It offers an 81.2 kilowatt hour battery pack that's good for an EPA range of 295 miles. BMWs tend to have pretty conservative EPA estimates, so I think 295 is well within reason. This car has a peak charging rate of around 205 kilowatts, delivering a 10 to 80% charge time of about 30 minutes, just like the Tesla Model S. The BMW i5 also has a really well integrated EV route planner. The main caveat with the BMW i5 is that at the time of filming, you are not able to use a regular Tesla supercharger with the adapter. You can use Magic Dock locations, but there's very few of them in the United States. So when you're road tripping, you are not allowed to use regular Tesla superchargers. So when you're road tripping in a BMW i5, regular Tesla superchargers are off limits. The Lucid Air has a 900 volt architecture, and this car features a 92 kilowatt hour battery pack. The Air Touring has a peak charge rate of around 200 kilowatts. Some sources have reported more like 217, but for all intents and purposes, it's around 200 kilowatts and delivers a 10 to 80% charge time of roughly 30 minutes. Like the i5, the Lucid Air has a really solid route planner built into the car's infotainment system. And unlike the i5, this car can actually charge at any supercharger with an adapter. There is one caveat, however, and since this car is based on a 900 volt architecture and some older Tesla superchargers only can supply up to 480 volts, you will have a limited charging rate at V3 superchargers. So this car will only accept around 50 kilowatts on an older supercharger. The Air Touring offers an EPA range of 425 miles with the 19-inch wheels or 384 with these upgraded 20-inch ones. Based on some real-world range data I gathered from Tom Malogny's State of Charge YouTube channel, I estimate around 380 miles on the Lucid Air Touring with the 19-inch wheels, and with these larger 20-inch wheels, I expect that range number to look more like 350 miles. As for charging and range in the Porsche Taycan, there are two usable battery pack sizes you can opt for: 71 kilowatt hours, which is the standard battery configuration, or the Performance Battery Plus with 83.7 kilowatt hours. The standard battery pack has an EPA range of 200 miles, though real-world range tests show that the Taycan can really outperform that. Out of spec studios got 215 miles at 70 miles per hour with the 21-inch wheels, just like this one here. And on my commute today in this Porsche Taycan, I was driving in a mix of stop-and-go traffic and highway driving up to 75 miles per hour. I calculated 250 miles of range. So this Taycan is pretty underrated when it comes to the EPA range. The Performance Battery Plus is just like that. Some independent range tests show north of 290 miles when the EPA range is just 225. Very impressive. Equally as impressive are the Taycan's charging specs. So Porsche says this car can charge from 5 to 80% in 22.5 minutes, which is already super quick. But in our own charging tests, we saw the Taycan 4S with the Performance Battery Plus go from 1 to 80% in just 18 minutes. And if you get the base battery like this, you do have a limited peak charging rate of 225 kilowatts as opposed to 270 in the Performance Battery Plus. But since the battery pack is smaller, the charging times are roughly the same. Finally, the Porsche Taycan can use Tesla superchargers and has a pretty good built-in route planner, though the only caveat is, like the Lucid Air, we are based on a very high voltage platform. This car is 800 volts, and if you use some Tesla superchargers, you will see limited charging rates. The good thing is Porsche offers an optional onboard charger that can supply up to 150 kilowatts to the battery pack. This means if you're using an older version 3 Tesla supercharger, you can charge 3 times as fast as the Lucid Air. Now, the only caveat is you've got to find a Porsche Taycan with that 150 kilowatt boost charger added on, because not all of them have that. Otherwise, you would charge at 50 kilowatts the same rate as the Lucid Air. Nevertheless, the Porsche Taycan is truly a charging beast. As for our charging segment winners, we are splitting the crown 3 ways. The first third goes to the Tesla Model S. It offers impressive real-world range, but the really nice thing about having the Tesla is the built-in route planner with access to the supercharging network. The Tesla Model S is truly the easiest car to take on a road trip out of these 4. The Lucid Air is also deserving of part of the crown because it offers the best real-world range out of all of these cars, and it still has a smaller battery pack than the Tesla Model S, though just by a small margin. The final winner is the Porsche Taycan, and that's because this car just charges so quickly. The Porsche Taycan is truly one of the best charging cars on the market, even 5 years later, because this car offers the same charging speeds that the 2020 Taycan offered. If you're looking for an EV with a great charging curve, look no further than the Porsche Taycan. Now we're going to move on to the driving experience of all 4 of these EVs. Let's get behind the wheel. First up is the Tesla Model S. This is the 2022 model year, and I would like to really see what improvements Tesla has made in 10 years since this car originally debuted. 2012 Model S, 2022. Let's see how this handles on some fun, curvy mountain roads. So I have the acceleration on insane, and the steering is on the heavy setting. And taking this around some curves, you can kind of hear that the tires are struggling a little bit. You hear a little more noise on that, but overall I think this car is fine. It's not particularly engaging, but it's not bad either. I've driven a lot worse cars around some of these curvy roads before. I'll accelerate out of here a little bit. Keep in mind this Model S has the most horsepower out of all these cars, 670, and it's also the lightest, 4,500 pounds. So that is quite a feat among all these 4 EVs. Yeah, especially the acceleration out of the corners is really impressive. Obviously, we have 670 horsepower, all-wheel drive, great traction control. You'd kind of expect that. And as for like spirited driving, Model S is fine. It's not particularly the best. Finally, we've got the Model S out on the highway to see how it does cruising at highway speeds. Now, the first thing is the sound. Is the cabin loud inside here? So we're averaging around 66 decibels on the interior, which is fine. We will see that some of these upcoming EVs will be a little bit quieter. By the way, when we measure the sound inside the cabin, we take the car up to 70 miles per hour and record at that speed. So that 66 decibels is at 70 miles per hour in the Model S. As for the autonomous driving functionality, autopilot or FSD, we'll start with autopilot. Autopilot does lane centering and adaptive cruise control to keep you a safe distance from the car ahead of you. It works quite well, and it's a good standard system. This comes as standard in the Teslas, so you do get adaptive cruise control. You don't have to pay extra for that. And you can take your hands off the wheel for a while and let it do its thing. As for FSD, this can do point-to-point driving, so it can exit a parking spot and drive to your location and pull over and park there. It's very impressive. I've tested it a fair amount on hardware 3. I haven't yet had the chance to really spend a lot of time with it on hardware 4, but it's been very good. Obviously, it can make mistakes, so you should pay attention, especially when you're in kind of like high-risk areas where there's lots of pedestrians or traffic. So it's still working there, but overall it's a very, very cool system when it works well. I like FSD. It does cost $8,000 or $100 a month. The way to get around this is if you purchase a used one that already has FSD on it. So that is your one little way to get FSD for not a ton of money. But overall, I still think the Model S drives well. I'm not amazed by this car, but I think it's a great car for the value. And at around $40,000, you're getting a lot of car for the money. You got great range, really good straight line performance, and lots of amenities like air suspension. This is overall a nice car. And if you want a nice sedan, or maybe if you're even considering a new Model 3 Premium, this thing is less money and you got a lot more space and performance. 13 years later, and you can still make a case for the Tesla Model S. Now we're in the BMW i5 eDrive 40. The first thing with this car is this is the second heaviest car in our comparison, yet it's also the least powerful. In normal mode, this car makes 308 horsepower. If you put it in sport mode, you get 335. And as for the weight, this is 4,916 pounds. This is about 350 pounds heavier than the Tesla Model S we just drove, yet it has less than half the horsepower. I think people tend to get a little hung up on power specs of a car, like we need something with 600 plus horsepower, but the BMW i5 is a lot of fun despite being the lowest power car on this list. And that first fun attribute starts with the driving sounds. So right now we're in efficient mode, and if I accelerate, still really quick, but we don't hear anything. Now we can throw this into a different mode. Now we're in personal mode, and if we accelerate, we hear this really cool synthwave sound coming through the interior speakers. And now this isn't any sound, this is Hans Zimmer's sound. So BMW actually hired Hans Zimmer. Hans Zimmer did the soundtrack for a bunch of Christopher Nolan movies, including Interstellar, Dunkirk, the Dark Knight trilogy, and a bunch of other really good films. So this translates to a really cool experience in the car. Now, personal isn't really that exciting when we compare it to other modes. Next, we have relax mode. And this is the most unique sound you will ever hear in an EV. So I accelerate. It's like this blissful Zen noise. It's so cool. And then after that, we have sport mode. This unlocks the full 335 horsepower. And I accelerate. That sounds really cool. I like that. But all of these noises pale in comparison to the coolest sound, which is expressive mode, and we will check that out right now. We are about to accelerate on a highway. The sunshade is opening because that is a feature of expressive mode. Tell me that's not sick. That is so cool. Now we're on the highway and being serenaded by Hans Zimmer, we can talk about some of the car's other features. It's definitely not the most exciting driving experience of a lot of EVs I've driven before, but I think it serves its purpose well. It feels like a big, solid car, and it's also very quiet in this cabin. In fact, we're cruising down the highway and we're reading only 63 decibels in this cabin. It's very quiet. For comparison, a Tesla Model 3 is around 69 or 70 decibels. Obviously, it's a different class than the BMW 5 Series, but still, this car is really quiet, and you can have a nice conversation with the person sitting next to you in here just because it's such a serene environment. As for the one-pedal driving, the BMW i5 does have it. It's through B mode, so whenever you're choosing gears, you go to drive, and then you pull back one more time on the drive selector, and then you are in B mode, and you get one pedal driving. I gotta say, the one pedal drive feel in the BMW i5 is very well calibrated. Good on them. As for safety features, we actually have BMW's driver assistance package added on, which has lane centering and adaptive cruise control to keep you a safe distance from the car ahead of you. On this 2024 model, we don't have totally hands-free driving. It actually does hands-free if you're under 40 miles per hour, but if you're on the highway, you gotta put your hand on the wheel every 10 to 15 seconds. It works quite well, though it isn't too great around corners. We actually get this really cool augmented reality display in this gauge cluster area, and it can superimpose your navigation and ADAS features into this display. So for instance, if you are lane centered, it will highlight your lane green. It's a pretty cool feature and gives you a little more confidence when you're using some of these ADAS systems. But overall, I really enjoy the BMW i5's driving experience. These Hans Zimmer noises are so cool, and it's a really cool conversation starter whenever I bring other people in the i5. The i5 is just a really nice luxury sedan that you would expect from BMW, and I think if that was their goal, they nailed it. Third on our list is the Lucid Air Touring. This car makes 620 horsepower. It's the second most powerful car we have, but it's also the heaviest at 5,016 pounds. So you would think that a car this heavy may not be that fun to drive, but surprisingly, the Lucid Air is incredibly fun. This car doesn't have air suspension like the Tesla Model S or a Porsche Taycan with the optional air suspension, but this Lucid Air is actually tremendously fun to drive. We have incredibly quick acceleration, as you would expect from a Lucid Air making 620 horsepower. But the most impressive thing is the handling. This is by far the best handling car we have compared, and I'm really curious to see how the Taycan can compare with this, because so far this car just handles so well, and it really does not feel like a 5,000 pound car. You can toss this thing into corners and it just holds the road with distinction. I'm really impressed. As for one pedal driving and that sort of stuff, the Lucid Air has a really nice feeling accelerator pedal. It feels very natural, and I like it because it's a little bit less sensitive than the Tesla Model S. The Tesla Model S, don't get me wrong, has a great feeling accelerator pedal, but this just feels a little bit more natural. The tip-in on the Lucid Air is a little less aggressive, so you can gently press on the accelerator and you will get the torque delivered very smoothly. Now that said, when you're in sprint mode and you do floor it, you still get lots of instantaneous power very quickly. Especially with that handling and then 620 horsepower on tap, this thing feels so good. And the brake pedal also is quite nice. It's a very refined feeling brake pedal. Overall, very impressed with the cornering, handling, steering, and acceleration response in the Lucid Air. Now let's take it out on the highway and see how it performs. Now we're on the highway, and every time I drive a Lucid Air, I'm always really impressed that these cars don't have air suspension, because I would say this setup, which uses steel springs and adaptive dampers, is more comfortable than a lot of air suspensions out there, especially the Model S. This feels way more refined when you're driving it on the highway. There's very little vibrations that enter the cabin, and it's a great feeling system. Very impressed Lucid could do this without any air suspension. Now, since we're doing a nice cruising speed, we can talk about the sound inside the cabin. The Lucid Air gets 64 decibels according to our test, which puts it right in between the Tesla Model S and BMW i5. Since this car is equipped with DreamDrive Pro, we can activate it, and now I can take my hands off the wheel. So DreamDrive Pro allows for hands-free driving. DreamDrive Pro can also do lane changes on the highway, so all you do is put on your blinker and the car will change lanes for you. It also has concurrent steering, which the BMW also has. And what this means is you can override the autonomous driving function if you want to, say, take the right or left side of the lane, and the system will not disengage. Overall, driving the Lucid Air Touring is a very pleasurable experience. This is a great car to drive in. It's fun around corners, and it's also very competent on the highway. The Lucid Air is a multiple trick pony, and I think it will satisfy many people's driving desires. Finally, we are in the Porsche Taycan. Now, we're actually going to start off this review portion on the highway and talk about how it drives. First off, it's pretty quiet in here. We've recorded around 63.5 decibels, which is just a shade quieter than the Lucid Air. Not quite as quiet as the BMW i5, and decently quieter than the Tesla Model S. This Porsche Taycan only offers adaptive cruise control and lane keep assist. And all it does is if you're driving out of the lane, the steering wheel kind of vibrates and steers you back. So we don't really have any true autonomous driving. The Porsche Taycan is a relatively comfortable car to drive on the highway with, though it definitely doesn't have as comfortable suspension as you get in, say, the BMW i5. This is more on the sporty side. The steering feel is definitely on the heavier side in the Porsche Taycan, but it's pretty precise. And I've said this before, I think the Taycan is the best steering EV on the market. The steering in this car is truly superb. This particular Taycan does not have air suspension, but honestly, I don't really notice a massive difference between the air suspension and non-air suspension Taycan. They both drive really well. This particular Taycan is nice because we do have the Sport Chrono package, so we have a drive mode selector right here on the steering wheel, and let's throw this thing into Sport Plus mode and see how it drives around corners. In overboost, the Taycan can produce up to 402 horsepower, which is pretty good, and this car is on the lighter side out of all the EVs we've compared, weighing in at 4,568 pounds. Around corners, this car can really hold the road. It's truly incredible how good the handling is in this car. Out of all these cars, I really think the Taycan is the most playful, especially when you throw this thing into PSM off. So Porsche Stability Management, you turn that completely off. This car can really kind of get the rear end out. It's frankly a lot of fun to drive, and honestly being rear wheel drive really heightens that experience because now we don't have two electric motors powering all the wheels. We just have one powering the rear wheels, which are the correct wheels. Overall, the driving experience in the Porsche Taycan is great. It's fun, playful. Do I wish there was one pedal driving? Yes, but it does a lot of other things really well, and I still think this is the really big selling point on the Taycan, is just how well it drives. Sure, the software isn't that great, but I think the driving experience makes up for this, and you will realize that Porsche knows how to build good driving cars when you get behind the wheel of one of these. Our driving segment winners consist of the Porsche Taycan, Lucid Air, and BMW i5. The Porsche Taycan deserves a lot of credit because it is a really fun and enjoyable performance EV. The handling is really dialed in and the steering is super precise. The Porsche Taycan proves that you don't need a lot of horsepower to have a fun car. The Lucid Air is also deserving of praise because it does something really interesting. It is a fun performance car, but it's also very comfortable when you're driving it on the highway. You can really throw this thing through corners, and with 620 horsepower, this car offers plenty of punch. You can squeal the tires on back roads, but then you can glide down the highway with Dream Drive Pro. The Lucid Air offers the best of both worlds. Our final segment winner is the BMW i5. This car goes all in on luxury, and it can really eat up miles on the highway. This was the quietest car we tested at just 62 decibels at 70 miles per hour, and you can feel that when you're driving this car. It's a very serene environment, and the coolest thing is the Hans Zimmer soundtrack. So when you accelerate in expressive mode, it sounds like there's a freaking orchestra in the back seat. It is a really unique experience. And that's our comparison. Let's tally up the points. Tesla, 3, BMW, 3, Lucid Air, 5, and Porsche Taycan, 3. That would make the Lucid Air our winner. But still, I think people have preferences. What do you want? Do you want a luxury car? Do you want a techie car? Or do you want a performance car? So let's make a case for each of these EVs. The Tesla Model S is the least expensive car here, and it still packs quite the punch. 670 horsepower for great straight line performance and access to the supercharging network with an infotainment that just works. If you would like to be routed to reliable chargers and still have a real-world range of around 370 miles, you cannot go wrong with the Tesla Model S. The BMW i5 is the most luxurious and refined car here. The iDrive infotainment system works very well, and there's lots of cool customizability, whether it's the colorful ambient lighting or the Hans Zimmer acceleration soundtrack. The BMW i5 is also the quietest car here, and it just exudes luxury when you're driving it. If you're looking for a high-end electric sedan, the BMW i5 delivers. The Lucid Air got the most points, and that's because it checks so many boxes. 32.1 cubic feet of cargo volume, 620 horsepower, impeccable handling, and a very nice ride when you're cruising on the highway. The Lucid Air does a lot of things right, and I can easily see myself living with one of these on a day-to-day basis. The Porsche Taycan is the most eye-catching car here. It has exotic proportions, yet an impressive 0.22 drag coefficient. This is a driver-focused vehicle, and its dynamics are very engaging. We have great feeling steering and incredible handling. The steering is precise, and the chassis makes you think this car weighs several hundred pounds less than it actually does. If I was looking for a performance daily driver, the Porsche Taycan would be my choice. If you enjoyed today's video, please name your upcoming child Evercars Official, or you can just hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching.